Most people believe success is something you chase. They think it lives somewhere in the future, just out of reach, waiting to be caught with enough effort or motivation, but success doesn't work that way. Success moves towards certain types of people. It avoids others entirely. The real question is not how to get success, but how to become the kind of person success naturally follows. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. Your external results are a reflection of your internal state. If your mind is scattered, anxious, and constantly seeking approval, your life will mirror that instability. You'll move from opportunity to opportunity without ever fully benefiting from any of them. On the other hand, when your mind is calm, clear, and self-directed, opportunities start appearing in ways that feel almost effortless. Success is drawn to clarity. Clear thinking is rare, and rarity is valuable. When you know what you want, and more importantly, what you don't want, your decisions become simpler. You stop wasting time on distractions that look productive but lead nowhere. You begin saying no more often, not because you are disciplined, but because confusion is no longer pulling you in every direction. A clear mind doesn't rush. It waits, observes, and acts only when the signal is strong. Success also follows those who are internally stable. If your emotions swing wildly with every small win or loss, you become predictable in the worst way. You react instead of respond. People who succeed long-term build emotional resilience. They don't panic when things go wrong, and they don't become arrogant when things go right. They treat both success and failure as temporary data points, not identity, defining events. This emotional neutrality allows them to make better decisions, while others are blinded by fear or ego. Another quality success is attracted to is self-trust. When you constantly seek permission, validation, or consensus, you dilute your own judgment. High-leverage opportunities rarely come with unanimous approval. They often look strange, risky, or boring at first. People who trust their own thinking can move early and move alone. This doesn't mean ignoring feedback, but it does mean not outsourcing your confidence to other people's opinions. Success follows those who value long-term games. Short-term thinking creates short-term results. If you optimize for quick rewards, you'll choose comfort over growth every time. Long-term thinkers delay gratification not through willpower, but through understanding. They know that compounding works in skills, relationships, reputation, and wealth. Every small, consistent improvement today becomes an unfair advantage tomorrow. Over time, the gap between those who think long-term and those who don't becomes impossible to ignore. Finally, success is attracted to people who are at peace with themselves. A restless mind creates restless actions. When you're constantly comparing yourself to others, you lose your own path. When you stop competing for attention and start competing for mastery, the quality of your work increases dramatically. True confidence is quiet. It doesn't announce itself, and that quiet confidence creates gravity. Become calm, become clear, become patient, build yourself first, and success will recognize you when it arrives. Most people either live in desire or drown in effort. They imagine a better life but never move toward it, or they work endlessly on things they don't care about and slowly burn out. Success doesn't come from choosing one over the other. It comes from alignment. When desire and action point in the same direction, progress becomes natural instead of forced. Desire is not wanting something because it looks impressive to others. That kind of desire is borrowed and unstable. Real desire comes from curiosity, interest, and a quiet sense of pull toward a problem or craft. It's the thing you think about when no one is watching, the topic you return to even without external rewards. When your desire is genuine, it doesn't need motivation. It renews itself automatically. Action, on the other hand, is where most people disconnect from their desire. They either wait for perfect conditions or they mistake busyness for progress. Aligned action is deliberate and focused. It's not about doing more. It's about doing the right things consistently. Small, correct actions repeated over time outperform massive effort applied in the wrong direction. When desire and action are aligned, work starts to feel lighter, not easy, but meaningful. There is a difference. Meaningful work still requires discipline, but it doesn't require constant self-coercion. You don't have to fight yourself every day to show up. Curiosity pulls you forward. Learning becomes faster because your attention is fully engaged. Time compresses. Hours pass without friction. Misalignment shows up as resistance. You procrastinate not because you're lazy, but because something doesn't fit. Either the desire is false or the action is wrong. Most people respond to this resistance by forcing themselves harder. That works briefly, then collapses. The smarter move is to listen. Resistance is feedback. It tells you where alignment is missing. Aligned action also respects leverage. Effort alone is linear. Leverage is exponential. When your desire is clear, you naturally seek leverage, skills that compound, systems that scale, and tools that multiply output. You stop trading time for money and start building assets, code, media, knowledge, or relationships that continue working after you step away. This is where attraction begins to look like luck from the outside. Another sign of alignment is consistency without obsession. You show up regularly, but you're not desperate for immediate results. You understand that outcomes lag effort. The seed is planted long before the harvest appears. This patience comes from trust. Trust that the process works when you work on the right things long enough. Alignment also simplifies decision making. When desire and action match, choices become obvious. You know what to say no to. You protect your energy. You avoid distractions not through discipline, but through disinterest. The noise fades because it no longer resonates with what you're building. In the long run, success is less about intensity and more about coherence. When your inner motives and outer actions agree, you move smoothly through the world. You stop leaking energy through conflict and hesitation. What you want and what you do become the same thing, and when that happens, progress stops feeling like struggle and starts feeling like momentum. Most people sabotage success at the final step by holding on too tightly to the outcome. They become attached to a specific result, a specific timeline, or a specific version of how life should unfold. This attachment creates pressure, and pressure distorts judgment. When your mind is fixated on winning, it becomes harder to see clearly. Letting go of the outcome is not about giving up ambition. It's about removing the mental friction that blocks intelligent action. Attachment is usually rooted in fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of wasted effort. When you tie your self-worth to results, every action becomes emotionally loaded. You hesitate more, you second-guess yourself. You play it safe when boldness is required and rush when patience would serve you better. Ironically, the more you care about the outcome, the worse your decisions become. Letting go creates space. When you're no longer obsessed with results, your mind relaxes. A relaxed mind notices patterns, opportunities, and risks that a stressed mind misses. You begin to act from clarity instead of desperation. This is why people often perform best when the pressure is off. They stop trying to prove something and start doing the work for its own sake. Detachment also allows you to play long-term games. Short-term outcomes are noisy and misleading. You can do everything right and still lose today. You can do everything wrong and still win temporarily. If you judge yourself by immediate results, you'll constantly change direction and never benefit from compounding. Long-term thinkers focus on the quality of their inputs, not the randomness of short-term outputs. When you let go of the outcome, you shift your identity from the person who needs to succeed to the person who builds value. This is a powerful change. Value creation is always within your control. Outcomes are not. You can control how well you learn, how honestly you work, how clearly you communicate, and how consistently you show up. When your focus stays on these fundamentals, success becomes a byproduct instead of a demand. There is also a social dimension to detachment. People can sense desperation. It repels opportunities. When you need a deal, approval, or recognition too badly, you lose leverage. Detachment restores balance. You negotiate better, choose better partners, and walk away from bad situations without fear. Paradoxically, when you don't need the outcome, you're more likely to get a good one. Letting go does not mean passivity. It means committed action without emotional attachment. You still set goals, you still work hard, and you still care about excellence, but you release the illusion that you can control how and when rewards arrive. You trust the process and allow time to do its work. In the end, life rewards patience more reliably than intensity. When you stop gripping the future and focus fully on the present moment, your actions become cleaner and more precise. You move with reality instead of fighting it, and often that's when the outcome you wanted arrives quietly, without struggle, as a natural consequence of who you've become.